Welcome to Village Church Sermon Q&A. Pastor Michael here with you, and I am in the studio with Pastor Alex and Pastor Craig. And so we preached, by we, I mean Alex, preached a sermon for all of us on August 8th, 2021, and we're in a series on the tabernacle and about the skills that were required. And we find this interesting passage where there's a guy named Bezalel, and the Holy Spirit gives Bezalel this unbelievable skill in craftsmanship. Whatever it is, he seems to be maybe once in a nation kind of guy where people looked at him and said, only God could kind of do that through you. So the question for us is, how does the Holy Spirit make me more skillful? So I want you to imagine we're kind of counseling somebody, and maybe they have this passion for something, and they're reading this Bezalel guy, and they're like, I want that. I want to be as good as him. And yet the scriptures say, no, but that was the Spirit of God uniquely taking probably his job that he did for a living, and then making it so great that people recognized him. All right, so we talked about three things, okay? So Alex, I want to start with you on this one. You have a young person, say they're 23 years old. They have a skill, they want to grow it. What's the first thing you would say to them?
Yeah, so first of all, everybody, same story. We all have development of personality. We all have development of skills through our experiences. That's true of everybody. But then for Christians in particular, when we believe we have the Holy Spirit come upon us, we have filling, indwelling, sealing. And so the Holy Spirit, I wanted to tell this person, the first thing is that the Spirit will amplify your learning and your passion and your fruit as you pour yourself into God's kingdom, right? Come behind the things that he has already ordained in your life and amplify them because you're using them for his purpose.
All right. So what if I am a guitarist?
Yes.
And I am want to be really, really good for God, for his kingdom, but that's not what the Lord wants from me. Well, should I expect that just because my motivations are good that he's going to grow my gift?
Well, I mean,
we didn't practice this.
Yeah, right. We didn't go through that. Well, so okay, I'm on the spot a little bit. No, it's good. So, you can still choose to grow your gift, whether or not God, wants it for you, right? Like you could invest energy, you could go get guitar lessons and get better and that kind of stuff. But it's interesting. How would you discover though that God doesn't want you?
Yeah, I didn't. So I did not even imagine
that question.
Well, no, let me tell you a story.
Oh, is. I think I know what story you're going to tell.
Maybe we'll see. I tell the same three stories over and over again. So, but when I was 19, 20, 21, I was a very skilled guitarist and a really good worship leader. But here's my secret: I never sang. I led the team. I worked with the musicians and the singers. I would coordinate everything, and I would do all the talking, and I would always have singers with me because I'm terrible at singing. So yes, it's so bad. And I can hear the notes, but I can't make the sounds. It's really bad, dude. So even my wife in the car, my kids are like, stop singing, Dad. And every once in a while I hit a note and I feel really good about it. Yeah, I know. What's happening here? So this guy named Tom, we were at a Vineyard church in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And Tom comes up to me. It's a very charismatic church. I had to be 19 or 20. No older than that. And he comes up to me, and I was leading with one of their bands. And again, he was watching this happen, and he goes, I need to lay hands on your throat. And I was like, well, okay. And he's like, what do you want to do? And I was like, I would just love to lead worship for the rest of my life, but I'm the worst singer in the planet. And apparently you can't lead worship, I don't know, at a church other than a college group if you can't sing, and it's and so he literally laid hands on my throat and prayed for healing over my voice. True story. Nothing happened. And I remember for a moment, I was like, maybe this is the day. Maybe this is the story I tell where God gets all the glory.
Yeah,
and I had no ambition to teach because I could not, until I was about 27 years old, stand in front of a group of people and speak without quivering. It was devastating. It was actually one of the most frustrating weaknesses that I just couldn't. So in my brain, speaking ministry out, right? Leading in a worship team, I could do that.
Yeah.
And so he didn't heal me. And the Lord did not want me to be a worship pastor, but doggone it, everyone around me was saying, you should go down the worship pastor route. Because we can work with your voice.
You have most of the skills, but not the voice.
But not the voice.
Right. Yeah.
And so the people of God around me were saying, no, they were saying, yeah, feed that thing because you're so good at it. But the Spirit of God was like, that's actually not what I want for you.
Right.
And I had no category that the Lord would want me to talk in front of people. And that's a whole different story. And I remember the Sunday when all the nerves for the first time went away. I was 27.
Wow.
Yeah. It was when there was closer line of sight to me becoming the interim lead pastor here. And I was like,
Oh, that's
I was like, God, I cannot do this. Like, I don't want to humiliate myself. And it was like this weakness that he plagued me with, probably just to, keep me relying on him.
And nobody laid their hands on you to get you over that one?
No, you have no idea how stupid I looked on such a regular basis. Like the pastors would be like, hey, if you want to get up and do announcements. I'm like, I'm sweating. It's terrible. Anyways. All right. So,
okay. Well, let's talk about that though.
That's a great story. What were we talking about?
Where are we?
I mean, you still, from 22 or whenever this guy laid hands on your throat or whatever, you still used your leadership skills in a band setting. You still used your awareness of music. You still used your communication gifts in those contexts. And the Spirit still used it to glorify God.
Oh, yeah. Like the Spirit wasn't like, oh, I hate Michael for doing that. But I wanted it to be so much more. My will was not the Spirit's will. The Spirit apparently had a plan for me to talk for a living rather than strum for a living. So, or sing for a living.
And when did you stop just playing guitar altogether on a worship band?
It was 2009, and I was preaching, and we had no lead guitarist, and so our worship leader begged me to play, and I was like, "It's really weird if I'm playing guitar and then I go preach," and so I did that. I was feeling it in my spirit, and then this critical man looked at me and he goes, "Huh?" After the service, he goes, "Looks like it's Michael's show here," and I was like, "Okay, I get it," and even though his heart was super critical, I spent quite a bit of time praying about that. And it was very quickly after that, the Lord was like, you're done playing guitar in church. Every time you play, you're taking away someone else's opportunity to grow and develop. I want you to invest here. And I've been asked 100 times to play at Village Church. And I'm just like, no, the Spirit has not given me permission to do that. And lo and behold, we've always had what we needed. And
I think of that too. Like there was something that Village Church needed. So you backing off of that thing because you have this other gift that you need to pour yourself into, this other responsibility that you have. So you're going to pour yourself into that. And the Spirit is equipping this, like the church, to fill those spots.
So it's interesting. The thread through your story that you just shared was you never gave up being or learning the skill that God gave. You just didn't know what it was. So the skill that God gave you as a young person was used in a specific way. And the skill that God gave you to speak was used in a specific way. But the thread was you were always willing to be used for God's glory. And so you learned leadership skills through leading guitar with guitar. And now you're learning leadership skills as a senior pastor by preaching every Sunday. And so there's that common thread where your skill is being developed. You just didn't know what it was.
So John Piper had this statement that changed my life. And I was 19 when I heard it. And he said, I was petrified to speak in public, but I made a vow to the Lord. I will never, ever, ever say no to preaching. If I'm ever asked, no matter how nervous I am, I will always respond with a yes, even though I'm super nervous. And I remember the Lord was like, that is for you, Michael. And so I tried to avoid speaking in public, but everywhere I went, people were like, you should teach, you should do that. And I'm like, I'm a quivering, bumbling mess. And the Spirit bypassed my weakness. And if there was any fruit from that, it was all the Spirit of God because I was a bumbling moron.
You didn't know what your skill was.
No.
But it came out by your surrendering through the different aspects of life. I will do this. It's not time to do that anymore. Now I will try this, even though I'm scared. But your surrendering allowed God to develop the skill that he already gave you and wanted to develop in you. That's an interesting concept because I've met a lot of folks that want to have a specific skill and they try, but it's pretty clear through their attempts that they're just not skilled that way.
This is not what you need,
And they need somebody to come to them and say, listen, I just don't think that's it. And you risk a relationship when you do that. But ultimately, affirmation of the skill that God has given to you comes through his people.
Which is awesome.
It is. Like, you just have to be humble.
Yeah. There are some people who are really bad at some things, but I see all the potential in them. I'm like, if you invest in that, and the Spirit wants to do this, I have a hunch God could use that for quite a bit of good. There's a guy at our church. His name's Davey Torres, and Davey was our worship director for a while. And Davey leads worship and plays lead guitar.
Yeah.
Well, Davey was not a lead guitarist. Davey was less than adequate at strumming acoustically. And this was about the time when I was pulling out, and he's like, we need a electric guitar. So he actually trained himself how to play lead guitar. And he went from no lead whatsoever to being probably one of the most competent lead guitarists we have ever worked with in a worship environment. And then he would start training everybody. And what I watch him put in the effort. I watch the Spirit amplify his skill, and then the fruit as he has worked with all of our lead guitarists. And now we have a handful of lead guitarists, many of whom we point directly to Davey and his influence. And but that was a moment where, didn't have a lot of skill, invested it. The Spirit put a prompting on him. The people affirmed it. Yeah. And he has been an unbelievable blessing behind the scenes. Most people have no idea to Village Church in so many levels.
Okay, so can I just take what we're talking about? I almost want to scrap all of our notes entirely that we made on this and kind of just say one thing, because I think there is a thread here, which is kind of an open-handed humility to what the Spirit wants to do and not my priorities in terms of what I want to do.
Yeah. I've got great ideas, and the Spirit is regularly like, that's cute.
Right.
No, we're doing something else.
Right. And then how do you listen to that? Well, I mean, yes, there's an interaction with God. There's a life of prayer and understanding what he wants you to do. But then there's also listen to the people of God when they talk to you. Yep. When they tell you, don't do that, do that.
And remember the promise. The promise is, if you allow God to develop the skills he wants to develop in you, you will bear fruit that lasts.
Yes.
And you don't want fruit that just lasts for a little while, right? You want Jesus promises that you will bear fruit and that fruit will remain. What that means is whatever God's doing through you to develop this skill that he wants to use for his kingdom will have impacts on generations to come. It won't just be a flash in the pan. You're going to have the ability to impact people for the kingdom, and that lasts, not just in this life, but in the life to come. I think about that sometimes, being a preacher is kind of a weird thing, because you don't wake up one morning and go, hey, I think I'm going to be a preacher. And it's a path that God leads you on that's different for every preacher. But ultimately it comes by surrendering, saying, okay, I'll try that. It scares me to death, but I'll try it. Okay, I made a fool of myself, but I'm going to get back up and do it again. And there's a process that goes through. And then I sit down and think to myself, God has given me this gift that's no greater than this guy was working on the tabernacle. He literally was making furniture. But God bragged on this guy. And we have a tendency to rank our skills. Like Craig preaches, but nobody who makes furniture is ever going to be remembered. And this guy's in scripture. Nobody can do this but this guy, because God gave him this gift. But I think to myself, God has given me a gift where I get to impact people's lives and see relationships changed, and see reconciliation, and see surrender, and see not only a mom and dad come to the Lord, but their whole family changed, and then their kids change for eternity. It's such a blessing when you look at your skills and say, how can God use my skill for eternity? Changes your whole perspective.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, as somebody in my 20s, I've tried to be great at a ton of things, and I ended up being decent at one or two. You know what I mean? And I think that's the story. You just try things, and you try to do it for the glory of God, and you listen to people around you, and you see where the Spirit bears fruit through you. And even if you don't, you're like, I was not good, but if the Spirit bears fruit, I love it. Follow the fruit. So, all right, you guys, that was fun. I enjoyed these conversations, and I hope you guys enjoy them. We have so many more sermon Q&As, so I want to invite you to join us next time.